Good evening and welcome to Sunset News. In this broadcast, we bring you the top stories, community stories, weather, economic news, and more. Let's get straight into our top stories. As Namibia prepares to celebrate its 34th Independence Day anniversary, residents from Katima Mulilo, where this year's celebrations will be hosted, gathered for the Independence Day activation at the Katima Mulilo Open Market. The activation, which took place earlier today, was aimed at creating awareness about the independence celebrations, which will take place tomorrow at the Katima Mulilo Sports Complex. Now, the activation features various cultural performances to symbolize and celebrate unity and heritage. Here's a sneak peek of what is lined up for tomorrow's celebrations under the theme, A People United for Prosperity.
1, 2, 3.
Silent, move! Silent, move! Exercise, yes!
Check 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Erongo Governor Neville Andre addressed concerns raised which relate to the presence of a radioactive storage facility within the proximity of the suburbs in Swakopmund. We do not engage in any activities involving radioactive materials within local authority boundaries apart from the mines, Andre said.
In Swakopmund and the Erongo region, the municipality of Swakopmund, as the custodian of the land within the Swakopmund town boundaries, will explain the issues in detail. However, as the governor's office, I must categorically state that we do not engage in any activities involving radioactive materials within local authority boundaries in the region. We of course have mines in the region, but not in town boundaries. As a responsible government, committed to the well-being of our community and the environment, we adhere strictly to all local and international regulations concerning hazardous materials. Our operations are transparent and we prioritize safety protocols to ensure the protection of both our people and environment. Furthermore, as per the Constitution of the Republic of Namibia under Article 95, sub-article L, it states that the government shall provide measures against the dumping or recycling of foreign nuclear and toxic waste on Namibian territory.
Now, the Ministry of Agriculture conducted disease investigations into the deaths of cattle in 12 crush pen areas, revealing that by October 2023, 585 cattle across 23 homesteads had died. The findings indicate that 80% of affected farmers do not provide vaccines or deworm their livestock, leaving them vulnerable to common diseases and worm infestations. Notably, the standard price for cattle feed starts from $500 Namibian or more for 50 kg a bag, and cattle vaccines range between $600 and $900 Namibian or more, depending on the type, many of which cattle farmers say they cannot afford entirely. Hence, the ministry's effort to help in this regard. Officials from the Zambezi Directorate of Veterinary Services vaccinated 89,152 of 90,000 cattle against anthrax, botulism, and black quarter, accounting for 99% of the targeted population in the region's east. Vaccines will include multiminerals, vitamins, dewormers, and certain antibiotics. Farmers and cattle herders reported common clinical signs observed in cattle before death, including inability to stand, as well as severe body conditions. Let's get into our next story right here on Sunset News. Now, government has renamed the naval base Impalila to Naval Base Lieutenant General John Sinvula Mutwa during an event headlined by Frans Kapofi, Minister of Defense and Veterans Affairs. Now, in his address, Kapofi highlighted the historic significance of the base and its transformation into a pivotal asset for regional security and cooperation. The base features accommodation facilities, a sewage treatment plant, an electricity plant, and floating jetty with a slipway for launching and recovering boats from the water originally established by the South African Defence Force before Namibia's independence. Now, the base underwent rehabilitation by the Namibian Defence Ministry. The base, strategically located in the Impalila community, faced various security challenges before the Navy's intervention. This varied from illegal border crossings, unregulated fishing, poaching, and other illicit activities, and through collaborative initiatives involving the Namibian police, local authorities, and neighboring countries' law enforcement agencies, the base's operations significantly reduced crime and enhanced safety within the community. Kapofi added that the newly renamed naval base Lieutenant General John Sinvula Mutwa stands as a testament to Lieutenant General Mutwa's remarkable contributions to Namibia's defense as well as its security. Now, Uis Tin Mining Company has secured millions in funding. The details follow after the break.
Welcome to Namibia, where adventure meets tranquility. With Enjoy, you have access to a wide range of accommodations to suit every traveler's taste and budget. Experience the finest dining and hospitality Namibia has to offer. Booking your dream accommodation is just a few clicks away with Enjoy. Join thousands of happy travelers who have trusted Enjoy for their Namibian getaway. Your gateway to unforgettable Namibian adventures. Visit us today at enjoy.my.na.
In economic news, Andrada Mining's Uis Tin Mining Company has entered into a conditional credit-approved funding agreement of 175 million Namibian dollars with Bank Windhoek. The African Technology Metals Mining Company said yesterday Andrada wants to expand tin production at Uis to up to 2,000 tons per annum. The agreement with Bank Windhoek entails, among others, a conditional term sheet for a term loan of 100 million Namibian dollars over 6 years, as well as the refinancing Andrada's working capital facilities totaling 50 million. Now, Bank Windhoek will furthermore provide short-term loan facilities of 15 million Namibian dollars to Andrada as cash flow against future value-added tax payments. The bank will also provide Andrada with a guarantee of 10 million to Nampower for a deposit for the right to supply electricity. Issuing a statement on, among others, the Namibian Stock Exchange, Andrada yesterday said Bank Windhoek offers more favorable terms than its current facilities. The lower monthly payment and longer repayment term will unlock greater cash for the company. It added, according to the statement, Bank Windhoek has indicated its interest in funding the construction of the 5-megawatt solar plant at Uis. Andrada CEO Anthony Viljoen said that this is a comprehensive agreement and it aligns perfectly with Andrada's current and future funding needs. Andrada, formerly Afritin Mining, is dual listed on the Development Capital Board of the NSX. You are still with Sunset News. Let's have a look at the indicators. The Namibian dollar trades at 18.81 next to the US dollar. 20.40 Namibian dollars gets you €1. 23.86 means you can get a British pound, and for one Chinese yuan, you get 2.62 Namibian dollars. Looking at commodities, gold is trading at 2,162.56 per ounce, whilst copper, Brent crude oil made some dips, with platinum making an uptick of plus 0.61%. Now, in today's Story of the Day segment, Ohone Hlage delves into the recently concluded national census. After being allocated $706 million Namibian dollars last year, the Namibia Statistics Agency will release audited results of its spending following the conclusion of the national census next month.
My name is Sokhane Tlhache, and today's story of the day reflects on the census budgeting following the expenditure of 706 million that was given to the Namibia Statistics Agency to conduct the 2023 national census. Statistician General Alex Shimwafeni last week revealed that the actual spending from the actual spending of the census, of the total, 128 million was spent on transport, 112 million was spent renting vehicles to conduct the census, 16 million was spent on fuel, while an amount of 159 million was spent on field staff to pay workers who were conducting the census. Shedding light on when the entire spending of the census would be made public, Namibia Statistics Agency spokesperson Ipumbu Sakaria said that those details would only be available after 31 March. This will be done after the financial year that ends on 31 March, after the census is audited by the external auditors, he said. Shimwafeni last week, during the announcement of the census figures, revealed that Namibia's population had grown by more than 100% since independence, while urban population growth is set to outpace rural population growth in the ensuing years. This follows the release of the preliminary census figures by Shimwafeni, which showed that the total population now stands at 3,022,401. This marks a 114% increase over the period of 32 years. That wraps up the story of the day.
Now, the number of people affected by violence in South Sudan increased by 35% in the last 3 months of 2023. This and more in international news after the break. The number of people affected by violence in South Sudan increased by 35% in the last 3 months of 2023, according to the United Nations. The United Nations mission in South Sudan has documented 233 incidents of violence affecting 862 people. Among them, 406 were killed, 293 were injured, 100 were kidnapped, and 63 suffered conflict-related sexual violence. And this was said in a report released on Monday. This is a 35% increase in casualties compared to the previous quarter. South Sudan is due to hold elections later this year, the first since 2018, a peace deal between President Salva Kiir and his former rival Riek Machar, which ended a 5-year conflict causing hundreds of thousands of deaths. Violence caused by ethnic tensions and disputes over resources such as land has increased in various parts of the country in recent months, particularly in the oil-rich Abyei region. Now, UNMISS head Nicholas Haysom said the organization is doing everything in its power to prevent violence and to bring peace to affected areas, and urged South Sudan government to intervene to resolve any underlying grievances in order to establish peace. Now, in our next story, the UN said on Tuesday that Israel's severe restrictions on aid into war-ravaged Gaza, coupled with this military offensive, could amount to using starvation as a weapon of war, which would be a war crime. United Nations Human Rights Chief Volker Turk denounced the rampant hunger and looming famine in Gaza. In a statement slammed by Israel, Turk said that the situation of hunger, starvation, and famine is a result of Israel's extensive restrictions on the entry and distribution of humanitarian aid and commercial goods. It was also linked to the displacement of most of the population, as well as the destruction of crucial civilian infrastructure, he said. His spokesman, Jeremy Lawrence, told reporters in Geneva that the final determination of whether starvation is being used as a weapon of war would be determined by a court. The comments came after a UN-backed food security assessment determined that the war-torn Palestinian territory is facing imminent famine. The devastating war since Hamas's October 7 attack on Israel has left roughly half of Gazans, around 1.1 million people, experiencing catastrophic hunger, the assessment warned. Without a surge of aid, famine would hit 300,000 people in Gaza's war-battered north by May, it said. The finding comes just over 5 months into the Gaza war, which erupted which escalated after Hamas's October 7 attacks, which killed 1,160 people. And since then, it's been thousands, tens of thousands of Palestinians killed. Militants also seized about 250 hostages, of whom Israel believes 130 remain in Gaza. Now, of course, Israel's retaliatory offensive against Hamas has killed more than 31,800 people, most of them women and children, and this is according to Gaza's health ministry. You are still with Sunset News. Let's head to the weather. It is rainy in Ariamsvlei, Aranos, Keetmanshoop, Rehoboth and Mariental, so lots to look forward to there. At the coast, it is partly cloudy. That's Henties Bay, Swakopmund and Walvish Bay, sunny in Luderitz. Looking at the capital, partly cloudy conditions are expected, in fact, mostly across the board, save for Katima Mulilo, which is expecting sunny conditions. Pretty hot in Henana, 38 degrees Celsius, maximum temperatures expected. Stay with us as we head over to sports news. Chalo Chainda, Public Relations and Marketing Manager for Namibian Sports Commission, said the team is happy with the performance of Namibian athletes at the 13th edition of the African Games currently underway in Ghana, Accra. Chainda urged the Namibian people to, back home at least, to follow on social media pages in order to support the Games, which will end on the 23rd of March.
Thank you very much, AUSC Commission. Namibia performed very well. We have the expectation that we would love to have. So far, not so happy. We have 8 medals. We have 1 gold. We have 2 bronze, and we have 4 silvers. So far, I think we're very happy with the performance of our athletes. Would have loved to have more. Unfortunately, some challenges. This is high-level competition, but for the country, I think we're very happy. There was a lot of preparations. Of course, the beautiful weather here, whether it's humid or hot, our athletes were able to acclimatize. But we are looking forward as we prepare now. Our athletes will be going on the track. We into athletics. We're having a 4x400 meters that will be competing as well. So good expectation. We have had medals in swimming, we've had medals in wrestling, we've had medals in athletics so far. So I think overall performance of Namibia, we are happy. We can expect more, and hopefully that we can get another medal again. Overall, we are very happy with Ghana. The hospitality that we received here, very beautiful country, beautiful people. They were able to host us. The hostel where we are accommodated, very good. The facilities are of high quality standard. I think it's quite a lot that we can learn from Ghana. And I would just want to send a message up home that the team must be supported. Please follow us on the links for our social media pages where we are posting, and also for the links for these games itself, so that you can support our athletes. So far, Namibia, we are the land of the brave. We have performed good.
We are certainly wishing Namibia all the best at the Africa Games, particularly because it's Independence Day tomorrow, so we hope that can spur on their spirits. From local sports to the international desk, here's Ari Hochad with Globetrotting.
Good day, everyone. Time for international sports news, and starting off with tennis news first. It is the Miami Open that started in the USA in Florida. News from the women's side of the draw. The WTA side is that Carolina Wozniacki, a former world number 1, she beat Clara Burel of France in the round of 128. The score there was 6-1 and 6-4. The big news on the women's side of the draw was Simone Halep, that played again in a tournament for the first time in many years after she was suspended, and she came back again playing against Paula Badosa of Spain. A tough game for her in the first round, and it was Simone Halep that lost that game. It was the first set that Simone Halep won by 6-1, but then Badosa won 6-4, 6-4 the second and third sets to beat Simone Halep. On the men's side of the draw, it's still the qualifying that's taking place. Interesting first round action that will be when they start with the main tournament. It will be Andy Murray of Great Britain playing against Matteo Berrettini, both of them former world top 10 players, and also Gil Monfils of France. He had a good tournament the previous week in the Indian Wells, and he will play against Dusan Lajovic of Serbia. The top seeds, number 1 and 2 seeds, Carlos Alcaraz and Yannick Sinner, will only play their first games on Friday. On to Formula 1 motor racing news, and its next Grand Prix, the third one of the year, that will be the Australian Grand Prix. That will be this coming weekend. And news from Grand Prix is that Red Bull is still challenging with Christian Horner, the team principal, still under pressure with allegations of misconduct towards a female staff member. He was found not guilty by Red Bull, but now the female staff member, she complained officially at FI, the official authority of the FIA, and she was unfortunately also suspended by Red Bull. So lots happening in the Red Bull team. News from Ferrari is that Carlos Sainz will be back in his seat after he was sick the previous Grand Prix, and it is Ollie Beerman that did well. He's the reserve driver for Ferrari. He will again be the reserve driver. He's just 18 years old in the Ferrari team. And to close off today's international sports news, it is golf news. The first major on the men's calendar will start on the 11th of April to the 14th. That's the big one. That's the Masters that will be played at Augusta. And news from the tournament is that defending champion Jon Rahm will play in the tournament. That is because he qualifies to play in a few majors this year. He's currently playing on the Live Golf Initiative and banned from the PGA, but because he's the defending champion, he can play in the Masters. Other big names in Live Golf won't be able to play, like Bryson DeChambeau and also Louis Oosthuizen, but others that will be able to play because of being major winners quite recently will be Brooks Koepka, also Cameron Smith, and of course Phil Mickelson. That's also a previous winner at the Masters. That's international sports news for today. Hope you have a great sport day, and we talk international sport again tomorrow. Goodbye.
eTicket, your online ticket solution for events and event marketing, bringing you ease of mind and making sure that your event gets out there. For more information, contact events@nhh.com.na.
Connection. It's in the human touch, the feeling of belonging. It inspires us and empowers us, creates clarity from complexity. It starts new conversations, unlocks the power of advice, and makes an impact on your life. At Alex Forbes, we pioneer insight to provide you with advice that connects your decisions of today to your impact tomorrow.
Thank you for staying with Sunset News throughout the broadcast. Tomorrow, Namibia celebrates its Independence Day. 34 years ago, 21 March 1990, the country gained its independence, and we will certainly be celebrating with unity in our hearts. From Ashwin Bedi and the Sunset News team, don't end your day without us.